Welcome back to Cuckoo's Corner. Tonight I wanted to read a book for a very special little boy who should be born tonight or tomorrow. One of my kids is having her first baby. So this is a book called Alexander for little Alexander. And it is by Harold Littledale. It's an oldie but goodie. I really like the colors in this book, and the storyline is pretty cute. It kind of reminds me of Zebra Stripes gum. Let's see what happens to Alexander. It was bedtime. Chris and his father sat side by side on Chris's bed. Alexander was a pretty bad horse today, Chris said. His father lit his pipe. Alexander the red horse with green stripes? Chris nodded. What happened? Chris's father asked. Oh, let me show you. There they are on the bed, and there's Alexander. He wouldn't eat his cereal, Chris said. He wouldn't sit up at the table, and he spilled his milk. He made a terrible fuss. That's too bad, said Chris's father. There he is at the table, throwing a fit. When we went to the park, Alexander wouldn't play with the others. He got scared and ran and hid behind a slide. Mommy said she was surprised at a big grown-up horse acting that way. I'll bet you were too, Chris's father said. Well, sort of, said Chris. There he is hiding behind the slide. What else happened? Chris's father asked. Well, we went to the grocery store and Alexander swished his tail and knocked over a jar of peaches by accident and broke it. I guess it's pretty hard for a horse in a grocery store, Chris's father said. He better be more careful, Chris said, or we won't be able to take him shopping with us anymore. That wouldn't be much fun, Chris's father said. There he is, knocking over Peaches with his big tail. Did Alexander take his nap? Chris's father asked. He says horses don't take naps. They just sit on their beds and play with their toys. Don't they get awful tired? And cross, too, Chris nodded. Alexander was cross all afternoon. Why? What did he do? Asked Chris's father. Well, Chris said. There he is, just sitting on his bed and playing with toys. He probably should have taken a nap, huh? He wouldn't tie his shoelaces. Look at that, a horse with shoes. And he jumped and jumped all over the living room couch, even when Mommy asked him not to. Look at him, that grown-up horse jumping on the couch that way. And he got angry and kicked my little fire engine and broke the wheel off of it. Uh-oh, said Chris's father. There he is. Oh no, he broke the wheel off of his fire engine. And he splashed water all over the bathroom when he had a bath. Look at that silly horse, splashing water everywhere. I bet Mommy didn't like that. And he wouldn't brush his teeth. Look at all of those horse teeth he's not brushing. They'll all fall out, won't they? Or pick up his toys. Whew, what a cross horse, Chris's father said. Oh no, Alexander looks very ashamed. Chris moved closer and leaned his head against his father's arm. Daddy, what are we going to do about Alexander? He's awfully bad sometimes. His father was looking at the toy fire engine and the wheel that had come off of it. What do you think we ought to do? Chris thought a moment. Well, he said. There he is with his dad, and there's Alexander at the foot of the bed. Mommy could make a jail under the dining room table and put him there when he's terrible. Chris's father shook his head. Mommy wouldn't ever do that, he said. Alexander in the jail under the table. Oh, I can't get the page turned. There we go. Or maybe we could tie him up to the bed and not let him go for 10 whole days. But Chris's father shook his head again. No, sir, he said, not me. There's Alexander all tied up to the bed. And there's Chris, still trying to think of a way to deal with a bad horse. Maybe I should tell him to go away and never come back again, as long as he lives, Chris said doubtfully. I'd miss him, said Father. Oh, look at that. Alexander and Chris are pretty sad about that idea. Chris put his elbows on his knees and rested his chin on his hands. Then what are we going to do about that old Alexander? He asked. His father stood up. I'm going to think about that while I fix this fire engine, he said. There's Chris, and there's his father fixing the fire engine. Chris's father went out of the kitchen. He took the hammer from the shelf over the broom closet and a nail from the coffee can under the sink. He set the toy fire engine down on the kitchen chair, held the wheel in place, and hammered the engine and the wheel back together again. He spun the wheel around a few times to see that it worked perfectly. Then he put the hammer back on the shelf above the broom closet and went back to Chris. Did you think about Alexander? Chris asked, trying out the little fire engine on his bed. I thought and thought, his father said. What did you decide? Asked Chris. There he is, fixing the fire engine. His father put the fire engine in Chris's toy box for the night. I decided he just had a bad day. He helped Chris wiggle down in bed and handed him his big brown bear. There he is, tucking him in for the night. And there's Alexander by the toy box. And I think anybody can have a bad day once in a while, even a red horse with green stripes. He tucked the covers in and kissed Chris on the nose. You wait, he said. Alexander will be a wonderful little horse tomorrow. He turned out the bedroom light. And you'll be a wonderful little boy, too. Look at them. He's getting it all tucked in. Chris giggled. How did you know I wasn't very nice today? He asked. His father turned out the light in the hall. Alexander told me, he said. Look at that.